Sorry about all of that. Thanks for coming to this. I love talking about myself, so this is just another ripe opportunity to hold everyone captive for 20 minutes. But hi, my name is Tarighian. I'm a creative technologist, and what you're seeing behind me is my homepage on www.tinazone. I can feel the flashing on you guys, so I'm so sorry about that. But I kind of upfront two categories in my life as work and art, and I think a lot of people anticipate that that means there is some sort of friction between those two, or at the very least there's some sort of hierarchy. But that's why I like to use the metaphor of these shadow puppets to kind of explain that there really is neither friction nor hierarchy. The shadow puppet supports the shadow, and the shadow motivates the shadow puppet. So more broadly, I like to describe my work as being on the spectrum of demo and spectacle, as someone who is a creative technologist at a frontier AI lab, the Google Creative Lab, working in the AI era. And if we zoomed out even further, that probably means I'm somewhere between real engineering and real art. But to describe what both ends of the spectrum are, one end we have the demo, which is what can you do with model capabilities? And on the other end, we have spectacle, which is more like what can you say with the model capabilities that you have? So more concretely, a tutorial of making a shadow puppet with your hands would be a demo, whereas like Call Cirque du Soleil of showing shadows, doing storytelling is more of a spectacle of what you could do with a shadow. A miniature of this in my practice is I did a demo of emotion tracking by having an AI chatbot in real time change its cadence based on its perceived mood of mine. And the spectacle version of this was I was emotion tracking everyone who visited my website for 3 months to make sure that everybody liked me. But most people were pretty neutral. The emotion tracking wasn't very sophisticated. But this is a true miniature of my practice and my work, and today I'm going to go through 3 different recent examples of having to build demos for frontier AI labs and how that actually pushed different spectacles as I was questioning the models. So first up we have the demo of native image output. At this time it was specifically Gemini 2.0 Flash Image Preview. So I'm usually tasked with finding the creative, low lift, lightweight, delightful type of demo that'll inspire other developers to make things. This is the type of shit that goes viral on LinkedIn. People love this stuff. But this demo does 2 things really well, right? It explains to people that this new model is multimodal, as in it takes image as input, and that it can also get image as output. And the other thing it does is it shows that there is pretty cool adherence to the original input and ask from the user. So I started thinking, well, what if we asked the model to respond with pictures to ordinary questions without this kind of input? Which brings me to the spectacle of native image output. Asking AI, what does my husband look like, aka what does my husband look like.com, my amazing $14 domain, gave my parents some hope. But the premise is basically based on a picture of, for example, these feet. Can anyone in this room tell me what this person's partner looks like, or their car, or their job? And even if you kind of have an idea, because these are pretty distinct feet, AI native image output can sharpshoot this by responding with a picture directly, like the car, or the job, or the husband. Yeah. And this was kind of the core of the project, whatdoesmyhusbandlooklike.com. where you enter a picture, preferably your face and not your feet. You hit go, and then you have the multimodal reasoning model start to assume things about you combined with your query. And if you're lucky, you might get a hunk like this. And if you're really lucky, sometimes it gives you 2 husbands, depending on how Bushwick or Mormon you look on a given day. So some of my favorite outputs from my satisfied customers are she's bad, immediately shirtless dude. It's way too old. And then she's a cutie. I don't know these people also, I don't know, whatever. She's adorable, but gets this turtle of a man as her husband. And then this one I think is just so crazy. She puts her picture in she's adorable. 2 men, and they have COVID masks on for some reason. I feel that's a bad vibe. But you don't have to just ask it, what does my husband look like? You can ask it other things, right? So what does my car look like? What does my house look like? What does my job look like? What does my breakfast look like? What does my bank account balance look like? What does my Instagram Explorer page look like? And instead of just classifying you, like we've seen in other projects, as we've seen in other projects, this AI is now projecting an entire scenario and dreaming you up based on your visual identity. So making a spectacle of native image output has also made a demo of AI bias, because people are now using themselves and their own vanity as a reference point to evaluate how biased these models are and ascertain certain things about their training. Like, why is it that my husband would look like this? And it dispels how prophetic these models seem to be. People asking it, well, what should I be when I grow up? And what do you think about this personal problem I'm having in my life? When you can see it answering with a picture, it really dispels the fact that it's not very smart at all. Shortly after we got the native image model as an API endpoint, we also got video generation at Google. So I had the honor of working on a demo for the announcement of the VO3 model, making a countdown from 10 to 1. This seems really trivial, but it actually showed the model off without feeling like it was any sort of threat to humanity, right? We were doing storyboards. It took a ton of work. We were writing 250-word magic spells of prompts, all the good stuff that goes into any piece of work that is hopefully creatively held up by society. But in the face of the new Sora 2 app, my feelings about generative video started to shift, which kind of brought me to the spectacle. Because dogs were doing backflips, ordinary people were going to the moon, people were hanging out and seeming to have a good time with Sam Altman, and none of these things are obviously believable, but the spectacle actually for me isn't in the crazy video generations being 30% believable, it's in the extremely normal things being 100% believable. So I made something called 100deepbreaths.com off of the heels of websites like This Person Does Not Exist and Paradigms of Infinite Scrolling on apps like Sora or TikTok, and it's a 24/7 loop of 100 deep breaths taken by AI-generated human beings. I don't know, it's so weird taxidermically with that. It's a 24/7 loop of humans taking deep breaths, but really just kind of thinking about it as breathing also being a device of apps that are trying to get you to stop doom scrolling, or practices like breath work and yoga and things trying to get you to calm down. It's just such a uniquely alive thing to be doing, to be breathing. Something that is also so uniquely captured, or rather not captured, by a lot of film and movie and even performances and voiceovers. It's always the thing that gets cut out. It's kind of our one litmus of this is a real person. This is someone actually alive. And it's just so uncanny that it can be replicated so perfectly. Maybe even more so that none of the prompts are magic spells. Every single prompt I use is just 2 or 3 words: real person breathing, human breath, person breathing hard, person breathing tough. There's no description, but it's doing it absolutely perfectly with 100% conception that these could be real videos and real breaths. And despite giving it no descriptions, out of the 100 videos I generated with the model, 84% of them were white, 67% appeared as women, and 24% appeared shirtless. So if anyone's looking to generate some white naked ladies, try these prompts, knock yourself out. But it's just really weird to even prescribe them any identities like this. So if you have the chance to listen to this, I highly recommend it. It's unbelievably creepy and unnerving, and even listing them as white or shirtless or woman or any of these things felt uncomfortable too, because you're prescribing them extremely human taxidermic qualities, and I still don't really know how to treat it. This is quite recent. But anyway, the work I made right after this was from the new native image model, which I think is a pretty popular model on Fuser, which is Nano Banana, famously known as Nano Banana, formerly known as Gemini 2.5 Flash Image Preview or something like that. So I made a demo for this, which was, you take a picture in your browser and then you can insert yourself into anything you browse. You could imagine the type of reception this kind of thing gets on LinkedIn. You just don't even know who's in your DMs after this. You just boop into different things. This is me in an H&M dress, awesome. I really like this one. It's me looping myself into an entire arena mood board. And this was kind of the example that unlocked it for me, how much clever and intelligent work the model is doing when it's putting me into something like a graphic image. And I wanted to think, what is a more clever way to expose that, which is kind of how this spectacle was born, and this is an ongoing work that hasn't been released yet, but it's called www.everyday.tina.zone, and actually when you were up here talking about glance back, I was like, this is the exact opposite of that. Anyway, it all started when I took this like bomb selfie the day that Nano Banana came out, just it happened to be that day, and I was just thinking like, how could I take a really good selfie of myself every single day? It's just like virtually impossible, like not every day is a good day, I don't have my phone all the time. But when I saw Nano Banana, I just thought, with this new world reasoning and this new like unbelievable pixel adherence, maybe something could change there in that space. So here's my real selfie. And then I asked Nano Banana, like, what would I look like? Like, what would this person look like in 100 days? So, still bad. And then I'm like, well, what would I look like in 15,000 days? And like, I'm old, but like, still bad. Like, this is great. And then like, what do I look like in 100,000 days? Like, undeniably bad and like alive, which is like really, that's like great news for me. So I was just kind of starting to understand like what it means to be life-changing technology and to be on the frontier of AI, and that I could cement myself as a baddie forever. And the only way I felt like I could imagine this project coming to life was to copy the OG baddie shrine Instagram. So I copied Instagram's UI, brick by brick. It's nearly identical. The only thing is that there's like a next upload countdown in the bio. And what happens at the next upload countdown is there are 2 calls to the model. So once a day at 12 p.m. 2 requests are made. These are on her story. Her as in me, I don't know. My friends hate when I talk about this. Okay, so the first call is to Gemini 2.5 flashlight, which is like extremely fast, borderline, like an extremely cheap way to do prompt enhancement without relying on like just a generic thing to get everything. So every day it looks at the picture of me and it's like, what does this person look like 1 day from today? What does this person look like 2 days from today? So it's always being seeded with my bomb selfie. And it should, so it sees the original picture and then that prompt gets sent to Nano Banana and it generates a new post. When it goes well, you get a post like this. I've kind of like hidden the prompt in the hashtag. I don't know, fun. But this hasn't been seamless at all. In fact, like all of my early testing, like she keeps going to Japan. Like every day, like she flies to Japan. Like this girl in 1 day goes to Japan. Like she loves Japan. I think I just might have one of those like white people in tech vibe who like goes to Japan or something. I don't know where it's getting at. But it is always sending me to Japan, just like it's not being told to do that. It's like, look, I'm like on the flight, like I'm like, I don't even know what to say about that. And this one, you think like, oh, maybe I'm just in a different city. But if you read the caption, it's like, futuristic in Japan, like she's downtown with Japanese food. I don't know, it's really bizarre. I mean, it's I don't know. We're working on that. And I'm at a point right now where like maybe it's looking more like real selfies, but it's like if I were dressed as if I just discovered thrifting, like glasses, like it's just doing a really bad job, and we're only trying to give it the seed image and use the general model. So we're not trying to like build a custom GAN, we're not trying to do anything, we're just like, how well can a general model adhere to natural language? So that's actually been a really fun challenge of this project, honing in selfie styles of like a Gen Z girl and her wardrobe, just a really cool challenge of natural language and also self-reflection. But once it's honed in, I'm super excited to share this and like other features where you can like, add tagged photos with me. With her, I don't know, we don't know about that yet. But until then, you can follow me on www.tina.zone, which is on everything, including the browser. And I'm doing this like ritualistic torture on Instagram where I have to post every day. And if I don't, there's a website that like will tweet something extremely canceled through my very professional Twitter as like incentive to post every single day. Which is, I mean, yeah, you can imagine my vibe. Oh, and finally, I'm looking to collaborate with a porn star. I'm like, we're in Los Angeles, like, let's get this going. I'm trying to do an eye tracking demo, so please feel free to send portfolios and links and, yeah, contacts. Anyway, that's all.